Hey, it's Nettie Nolan.
Well, the description said a galaxy of slurs. 3 slurs is hardly a cancelling. Hang on, I got another call. What do you mean your hands are tied? Let me talk to Mr. Kanye West.
Traumatic childhood.
I needed those. I really did.
Which is true. Means death for us all.
Up yours, children. Why does it mine look like that?
And we never did.
Welcome to your new favourite podcast about your old favourite show. It's No Kids 3 Money, a Simpsons podcast through the lens of time. I am one half of your host, Ned.
And I'm Matt. And don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, go to our YouTube. That's where we are all the time. Never Instagram anymore. And we have an email address now. NoKids3MoneyPodcast@gmail.com. Drop us whatever you want in there.
Yeah, just like comments, questions, anything about the show. We'll try and ask you some questions during the show so that you guys have actually something to respond to our email, which is still blank. So fix that.
It's a thought hole.
And rounding out the trio, the man behind the cameras.
Well,
The
hello
ones and
there.
twos. Hello.
A beep beep.
Beep beep to you too, sir. This is getting very abstract, but thank you. Do enjoy doing a Simpsons podcast. What do we have in store for the people this week, Matt?
We have.
This week.
And we never did.
And we never did.
We have 3 episodes, as usual, starting with Season 2, Episode 19, Season 11, Episode 9, and Season 21, Episode 11.
Yes.
In chronological order.
Yes.
Nothing pre-recorded about this one.
No, nothing's different whatsoever in
No
20 minutes.
No one can tell the Mitchell difference.
Can't lie to you, I am the best. But, you know, they need me over in the projects of Capital City.
But I need you too.
That's the problem with being middle class. Anybody who really cares will abandon you for those who need it more.
I understand. Mr. Bergstrom, I'm gonna miss you.
I'll tell you what, whenever you feel like you're alone and there's nobody you can rely on, this is all you need to know.
All right, so Season 2, Episode 19.
Correct. Titled Lisa's Substitute. Synopsis reads, when Miss Hoover falls ill with a suspected case of Lyme disease, she is replaced by substitute teacher Mr. Bergstrom, or Boogerstrom as he likes to be called. Because of his unorthodox teaching methods, Lisa quickly takes a liking to him. Just as Lisa is about to ask Mr. Bergstrom over to her parents' house for dinner, Miss Hoover returns. Meanwhile, Bart runs for class president against Martin Prince, but loses due to the fact that nobody in the class voted with the exception of Martin and one of his supporters.
Yes.
To cap it off, since airing, this episode has received universal acclaim from fans and television critics and is one of the most celebrated episodes in the show's history, being regarded by many as the best episode of the series. It acquired a Nielsen rating of 11.1, which is about 10 million viewers, and was the highest rated show on Fox the week it aired.
Right.
It usually, the show usually comes in sort of the 2nd to maybe 7th category, usually behind, I don't know, a more popular show at the time, like Married with Children beat it a lot of weeks around the first few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then Family Guy started beating it around sort of season 10 and onwards.
Right. But it's always been consistent throughout those ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's why it kept the primetime spot for so long.
So my first note is, I heard you drank a bottle of drain cleaner.
Yeah, mine is Miss Hoover accidentally drank a bottle of Drano.
So the kids are all speculating about what reason she could particularly have for not being there. And somebody, I can't remember what the second kid says, and I'm supposed to write it down this week.
What, about what Lyme disease does?
No. There's one of the other kids says something, and then she comes into the room crying while Skinner's consoling her, and Lisa immediately jumps to, oh no, she's been dumped again.
Yeah.
So obviously her fucking love life affects her work
Teaching
consistently.
ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, enough that it's like a formality in Lisa's brain straight away, like, all right, this is what's happened. Of course.
Yeah, she's unlovable. So
Hasn't hoovered anyone well enough.
they make that joke by themselves fucking much later on in the series.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
at some point.
Didn't
We'll
even
get to
realise.
it. Yeah, in a weird way too. yeah, then she... Wait, did she explain? Yeah, she says that she has Lyme disease, and then one of the kids pipes up and asks, like, what's that? And Skinner gives a very fucking detailed explanation of what it is, saying that it, like, attacks... Can't remember exactly what the...
tick.
Yeah, parasitic tick, or that's how, like, you get it, and then, like, it attacks your bloodstream, moves in through your spine and into your brain, essentially just, like, killing you.
Yeah,
She's
and-
just like...
Miss Hoover's like learning those facts in that moment.
Pretty
too,
much.
Thinking she's going to die.
Which was fucking great. And then he just pushes her out of the room.
Yeah. This is when Mr. Bergstrom makes his first appearance, is like walking in the door, like shooting cap guns. And it's just quite fitting of guns being very readily available in American schools.
And being, you know, daughters.
Some would say daily, according to the internet.
According to the actual fucking statistics. What do you mean? There's no speculation there. It's
Yeah.
like happens all the fucking time.
Yeah, I looked this up like last year, and it's like nearly 2 a day.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
And what, in Australia, we might see, what, one every 6 months on the news?
Something
A
like that.
particularly bad one.
Yeah.
Bad in quotation marks, since they're all massacres if they're above, what, 3 people?
Yeah, I think that's a classification for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Horrific stat, America.
Yeah. Do better. Looking at you, Boardman.
And we never did.
And we never did.
Okay.
We'll cut around that.
So yeah, Bergstrom makes his appearance, and then he's obviously got this cowboy gimmick going on to try and like capture all the kids' attention, and then asks all of the class to figure out the 3 things that are wrong with his costume.
Yeah.
Lisa puts her hands up, and I can't remember, fuck, what did she say? I watched it like an hour ago.
The belt buckle, the state of Texas, wasn't a state until 1853.
1845, she says,
Right.
because he says the year is 1830.
Right.
Texas
okay.
wasn't a state until like 1845 or 1850, and then the revolver wasn't invented until like 1835.
Yeah.
And then she tries to say
They're
that there
also
was no
Jewish.
Jewish cowboys.
Yeah, I looked into the Jewish cowboy thing just because I was interested to know if there was any Jewish cowboys. And while famous Jewish cowboys might seem like a contradiction, Jewish families played a significant role in the cattle industry and the Wild West, with figures like Gilbert Anderson, Broncho Billy, born Maxwell Aronson, a Jewish actor who starred in over 148 westerns, being a notable example. I didn't even know there were 148 westerns.
I didn't know there were Jewish cowboys. There's more than 148
I
westerns.
think he depicted what a Jewish cowboy would be, but there wasn't ever a real one.
No, probably
guess.
not. And I find it funny that, you know, the description that you had, or the real life description, was them being involved in the financial side of the West, as opposed to, you know, the actual side of the Wild West.
Yeah. Matt loves rooting. Kings loves cameras. Everyone's scared when Ned slanders.
Perfect
Not me.
timing.
Everyone beware of Ned's slanders.
Had to get one in.
Sit perfectly still. Only I may dance.
Only I may slander.
Only I may.
Daughter.
Oh no.
That's going to be great. 'Cause it's just, then just 2 seconds of conversation.
They had another depiction of really good attention to detail for an early season episode. This was when Bergstrom was playing the guitar, but he had a left-handed guitar for whatever reason. And I don't know why that mattered, but it was weird that they did that adjustment.
What do you mean?
Like gave him a left-handed guitar.
For what do you mean? I don't understand what you're trying to say.
As I said at the start, the attention to detail. I tried looking up if Dustin Hoffman was left-handed or not, but couldn't find out.
He's not, and he's not shown to be left because, all right. So last week, I brought up the point, or like I noticed that, you know, he plays the guitar left-handed, but he has it slung. The neck is hung over his right shoulder.
That's right.
Which, if you were wearing a guitar like that, means you would pull the neck around to your left hand.
Makes
Therefore,
sense.
you're playing the guitar correctly. Not only that, he writes his name with his right hand. So he's ambidextrous.
Yeah. It turns out next week's season 21 episode, we find out that Marge is just using her left hand because
Her right hand. She was using her right hand because fucking something.
Yeah,
She
she was
didn't want the
actually
other one to
left-handed.
feel left out or something like that.
Extreme empaths.
Dumb explanation, but anyway.
Nice Hamish and Andy through line there, but we digress. There was a good scene, like they really captured some nice sort of still shots. So after Lisa has been sort of swooned by him and idolizes Bergstrom already, she's waiting outside the classroom to sort of show her saxophone skills to him. But Mrs. Krabappel's in the classroom.
Yep.
And then she's trying to seduce him essentially with her leg up on the table. There's a really good camera shot of like through her legs to see Mr. Bergstrom, which was like
A movie poster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shot
the Graduate.
shot for shot of that.
Wait, is he in that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
It's one of his like most famous roles.
yeah,
Yeah.
Apart from
That's right, because we were speaking about that, like not to jump too far ahead in the episode, but we were speaking earlier about how it was a nice touch or how subtle that was kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like it's just this very like quick, like obviously he says a line and it focuses on him for a couple of seconds, but it's maybe a 5-second scene where, you know, you sort of have to either know exactly what it is or look into it to get it like we've been doing. But then you get the season 21 episode where you've got like, they just try and cram as many fucking Anne Hathaway movie references into it as humanly fucking possible.
It's a reference, right? It's a reference.
Cram, eh?
Marty.
Hathaway.
Oh, fuck.
Jackal.
Oh, that will be a button when we get the soundboard back.
Slider. It's like Slider.
What's your next note since I've hogged most of this so far?
Well, then I just want to jump to the next scene, really, because like this whole first section of the episode, it goes for like 7 or 8 minutes where it's essentially just set at the school and we get like maybe 1 or 2 scenes of Bart like being a troublemaker and then sort of deciding that he wants to run for class president. But most of the time is focused on like Lisa and Bergstrom and their like relationship sort of developing or her like sort of just becoming more infatuated with him. Homer isn't shown until 8 minutes into the episode. So you get this like whole scene where it's like you're completely establishing the difference in between Bergstrom and Homer.
Yep.
So like what Lisa is like essentially yearning for as a father figure and then what she is
Her
like
reality.
stuck with. Yes.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like that sort of complements the themes of the episode a bit more because it sort of shows that Homer is absent
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're right.
because he doesn't appear until like 8 minutes into the episode. It's like it visually shows that disconnect that she has with him,
Yeah, you're right.
you know?
So it was used like purposely
Yeah.
to not put him in until they wanted to show that dumb side of him.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, just to show like the massive difference in between like what she obviously wants and yeah, what she fucking has.
Yeah, correct. The next scene that I have written down is when Lisa's sort of berating Marge when she's doing the washing about how good Mr. Bergstrom is.
I think that's before this. I think that is the scene that precludes just the scene that we were just talking about. She's talking with Marge in the laundry or the basement
Yeah.
about how like Bergstrom does all of these things and Marge is trying to like consistently reiterate to her that that's how she feels about Homer.
Yeah.
Which is also struck me as weird a little bit kind of thing because obviously Marge realizes that what Lisa is experiencing is like love or infatuation to some degree and she doesn't really like tell her to like maybe you should, you know, analyze your feelings here in this situation.
Yeah, I guess maybe Marge is just trying to... She knows that Lisa is idolizing this guy as a father figure, but she's putting Homer back in the conversation by talking him up like that,
Okay.
making Lisa sort of try to realize that she has that figure there, but she's not looking for his qualities. She's looking for a quality that she wants to see in him.
Yes. And the fact that like, yeah, he might not always be present consistently, but that he is like sort of capable of these things.
Yeah, in his own way.
Yeah, which sort of Marge is looking at Lisa and realizes that she doesn't understand that or sort of refuses to believe it at this point in time.
Correct, yeah. I like it.
I like that. The next note is just more asbestos.
Yeah, that was in my like subplot category. That was my first note.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Sorry.
So we'll continue with main
You
plot.
ruined my notes again. I'll kill you.
My next note is based on a sort of real life paradox, I guess, of the whole Bergstrom and Lisa situation. So Lisa's infatuation with Mr. Bergstrom is very accurate with what can happen with school-age kids that feel undervalued or underappreciated in some aspect of their life. Treating kids as equals establishes trust and fairness, and then they're way more receptive and willing to follow instructions when that rapport has been built, as opposed to like ruling with an iron fist.
Yeah.
It's just sort of something I've seen in my last few years of work, is just there's no right or wrong way to sort of break through to a kid. It's just you have to be your natural self, and if it appeals to them, good. If not, someone else will.
Yeah, that's just it. It's like you can be like the most like even-keeled and easy person to deal with, and some people still aren't going to like you, or some like in that situation, some kids still aren't going to connect with you.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, I think Bergstrom then, what does he say? Oh,
Well, yeah, we're trying to like skip over the side plot. The next thing is he mentions that the Springfield Museum of Natural History is closing down due to lack of interest. So he recommends that everybody should go and look at it, and Lisa's obviously excited and wants to go. And Marge sort of realizes in that moment that it's like her, she's just sort of falling too much into like what she's doing there, or like her feelings, and wants to, as we spoke about before, try and reinsert Homer into the situation. So she goes up to Homer and says, "Oh, you need to take Lisa to the museum tomorrow." He tries to come up with a bunch of excuses like, "Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." And then he goes, "Oh, spend time with the boy."
I think it might be the first instance of like that internal monologue that Homer has like throughout the series. This might be one of the first iterations of it where he sort of talks to his brain like he's two separate entities.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Because he's like, there's been like instances where people have had thoughts before, but not that, because like that relationship that Homer has with his inner consciousness is a specific thing.
Yeah, like the camera pans up and down to like showcase that it is two different things entirely.
And that even though he's capable of some thoughts, it's like they don't always make it to here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A really good
Thoughts go in here.
A really,
Sure do.
a really, really good Family Guy moment that's similar to that. Like Peter and Homer share that same recurring thing is, don't say doing your wife, don't say doing your wife, don't say doing your wife, doing your son. Oh,
Like another really great Family Guy one is P. Tier Griffin.
yeah.
Peter Griffin.
I was thinking of that at work the other day and I was smiling to myself on my way to a class. It was fucking great.
I fucking love that bit, bro. It's so good.
Oh, it's good. Just like three things that'll sort of not happen in sequence like that ever. Is a griffin even a real thing?
No.
No, man.
That's good. Thoughts go in here.
So Marge essentially forces Homer to take Lisa to the museum, and they both turn up, and he's sort of not arguing, but like making fun of the lady that she's, there's like a suggested donation, and he's like, "You think people are going to pay for this shit?" Essentially.
Yeah.
Mr. Bergstrom just walked up and puts money in it straight away.
Without thinking.
And says like, "Hi, Lisa." And then Homer's like, "Oh man, like what the fuck are you doing? You don't have to pay." And he just looks straight at Lisa and goes, "And this must be your father."
Yeah.
This guy's a fuckwit.
Yeah. Like can judge who that is straight away. Not that just because that's the only adult with Lisa at the time, but her explanation of how shit of a bloke he is
Yes.
to her just runs straight into his mind.
Yes. Well, and it's one of those things, like, it's not being shown at any point in time that she has, like, explained it to Bergstrom. So I think he's just naturally intelligent enough to assume that, like, this child is smart and has latched on to me kind of thing as a male role model, and this guy obviously isn't, like, fulfilling his duties as a father.
Yeah.
But it was just, a nice way of sort of showcase, because like to Homer, that's a nice comment. And this must be your father. But to Bergstrom and Lisa, they both realize that it's an insult.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like them sharing this nice, like, or like people appreciating Lisa for like who she really is.
Yeah.
Which Homer does, but he just doesn't realize all the time kind of thing because he's very self-centered.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a nature of people that are, like we've spoken about before, Bart and Homer display a lot of ADHD symptoms. It's a very ADHD thing to just sort of be focused in on yourself.
And it's like the relationship with Bergstrom and Lisa has that quality of like two friends having a joke together that not other people are going to perceive.
Yeah, like an inside joke almost.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there was a good scene with Lisa and Bergstrom in the school where they were both like looking out the window, and Bergstrom was basically saying like, oh, you'll go on to do way bigger and better things that nobody else has ever dreamed of.
They're looking at Bart downstairs.
Yeah, that's
and she says something about, I can't remember what she says, but she just says like, oh, he's being a dickhead or whatever. And then he says, oh, you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
Like when you go to places that like people like that aren't capable of going to, you're going to miss his like ridiculous antics and stuff like that.
So he's trying to plant seeds early on that she has to see what she has.
And that she is different.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that she also shouldn't like, you know, stray from what she is or where she came from kind of thing.
Which is wrapped up in a neat little package towards the end of the episode.
I see.
We're making good use of no soundboard.
I am a stream deck.
Yeah, I was going to say. What was that third thing you said?
Yeah, I may be ugly and quote-filled, but...
You ugly quote-filled man. My last...
Send me to Maud.
My last couple of notes are towards the end of the main plot. So I think we've covered pretty much everything in it up until...
Mostly. She gets upset to just jump through because it's a really good episode and I don't want to skip over anything particularly like we do with some other ones. So she comes home from the museum, gets upset that Homer has essentially ruined the entire experience. Bergstrom tries to explain to him at some point in time that like you're not valuing what you have in this really intelligent special fucking daughter. And he just blows that off completely because all he hears is, oh, you're going to give her an A. Cool, I don't give a fuck. I've done my job now. And he goes to try and like be there with Lisa. She walks off, explains it to Marge. Marge says, why don't you bring him around for dinner?
Yeah.
She's then sort of walking around the classroom out the front, trying to figure out how to ask him. She walks in and then Miss Hoover's there.
Rubbing his name off the board. And it's like that sort of crushing moment of understanding what's going on.
Yeah,
like
that
she
he's...
sees her and then the name being rubbed off is quite a good visual.
That he's left.
Yeah.
So before we get into like the very meat of the end of the episode, just this one last like sort of funny quote, which is Miss Hoover explaining what was wrong with her. She's like, okay, so I didn't actually have Lyme disease. What was wrong? Like my problems were psychosomatic. Yeah. One of the kids goes, does that mean you're crazy? No, that means she was faking it. So actually, it was a little bit of both.
Yeah. Really good perception for what, 8-year-olds?
Yes.
To understand what that is.
Yeah. And to like, it sort of reestablishes this point that she's just this massive hypochondriac. Like she's sick all the fucking time to the point that the kids have this level of pattern recognition that it's like, oh, she's probably just fucking faking it.
Emotional damage.
All right. So she then goes from there to his apartment block and has that slight conversation with that lady who Bergstrom was obviously banging.
Yeah.
About how he's going to like catch the train or something like that.
Yeah, he's on the way to Capital City.
It is, and is that before? Oh no, it's right. Sorry, I'm getting scenes mixed up. So yeah, she then goes to the train station and have that really emotional scene where he says to her, that's the problem with being middle class. Anybody that cares will abandon you for somebody that needs it more.
Actually fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was
so true.
Yeah, 100%. It was like not like hard to hear kind of thing, but it's just a complete reality. It's like...
Yeah, and like we've seen The Simpsons be able to have that emotional connection with you as well as the comedic side, which sort of cuts through like the real life feelings that you feel apart from laughter.
Yes.
And like that scene in particular, my eyes were like sort of welling up. I'm like, why is it getting to me? And it's like, because it's such like a
repressed memories.
I'm
a fellow daughter.
Oof.
Oh, like that. An emotional moment. Come through with comedy. Thank you, Edward. I didn't really know my emotions. No, that's fine. That's all I wanted
Which
to
is
get across
great because
anyway.
my next quote is, hey, just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand. But you're right. It's I understand what you're talking about as well, because like being in that middle section of like not even society per se, but to just like take it back to like school, for instance, kind of thing. If you're in the middle of the lane, no one gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
It's like they look at the smart kids because it's like they're going to go on and achieve things and that kind of shit. And then they have to worry about the dumb kids because it's like they're going to fuck everything up. And then it's just throw a bunch of
And the
papers at the
rest.
cunts in the middle. Literally, and the rest.
Yeah, it is like...
And you'd still see that today.
I was going to say, it is a thing. So a lot of the staff development days at the start of this year were focused on like the gifted and talented students and trying to give them more opportunities to like excel. I'm like, yeah, that's all well and good, but like, what about the rest? Like, we have done a lot with like disabilities and things like that, which is great and like much needed in this day and age, because I'd say 50% of kids have some form of intellectual disability or just like learning disorder.
Yeah.
So they're all catered for like with funding and stuff like that, but there's heaps that could do with an extra like hand every now and then that we just don't have time for.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, schooling in this country, or just in the Western world, and essentially, is fucking dumb. Like, have you seen how they do school in like Germany and stuff like that? No. From like year 9, you pick all of your fucking classes, and like your like last 2 years are equivalent to like low-level university degrees and certificates and stuff. So you come out of school with like 3 or 4 different fucking work options.
Yeah, that's mad.
Depending on what classes you do.
You actually get like certified qualifications and all
Yes.
that sort of shit. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Damn.
That is the thing that's lacking. Like, there's obviously like a careers teacher at most schools. So they try and get people into the workforce that don't want to go to year 12 essentially, and like everything in between. So like all the drop kicks try and shoot out the door with work.
Yeah, but that's the hilarious part as well, right? Because then they spend all the time on these fucking gifted and talented kids who end up fucking staying and working at Macca's.
As
right?
we've touched on
As
very
we've touched
early in
on
this
before.
podcast.
And then you get all these drop kicks that leave school in year 10. By the time they're 22, they're earning $60 an hour, shitting on all these intelligent kids. Because there's trade shortages all over Australia.
It is like
If you're qualified in certain jobs, you can walk in and get paid fucking bank.
there's pros and cons to everything though. Like I would not once in my life want to do labor like you do.
Fuck no. But at the same point in time, I've been a concreter for 2 years and I guarantee you I get paid more than people with university degrees.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's so many like
Yeah,
little.
probably. Like you make more than fucking.
And I...
No kids, free money.
We'll return right now.
All right, so Bergsham's left on the train, and then there's that obviously like super fucking memed moment of him giving her the note of "You are Lisa Simpson," which is something that she definitely needed to hear.
100%.
Then we get a quick cut to wait. We haven't spoken about the side plot yet, have we?
No, we'll do that after this.
Okay,
That's how we structured the show now, Ned.
that's right. But it all runs into one another. So should we just quickly run through that now?
The subplot.
The subplot runs into this very last moment. So should we just quickly run through it now? All right. So at the start of the episode, Martin gets up and gives this like big speech about, oh no, it sort of really starts with like Bart's, what's he doing? He's showing like a birth video from one of his cats or something like that from
Exactly.
Snowball. And all the kids are getting like grossed out by it. But Martin is the only one that actually stands up and has like an objection to it. And Krabappel agrees with him.
As usual, Martin, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is fair enough.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember. Fuck, what happens after that?
Let's just say it's a class president, like presidential race, and
Well, it's kind of
Martin-
hard. Like, there's not like heaps of specific scenes on it. There's just like a couple of like.
not
it's-
much goo to feast on.
Did you say it's time to crack this episode open and feast on the go inside?
Yes, I would, Ned.
So I feel like the whole side plot of this episode is just kind of used as a comedic break for the rest of the episode.
Exactly
It's just
what it
these
is.
like 30 to 40-second scenes of Bart just like parodying a bunch of like political campaigns.
Yeah, doing like the Nixon thing and
Which is what he like first does when he walks out. But Sherry and Terry put his name up for some reason, and then like he doesn't seem too interested in it until Martin starts to like, you know, sort of big note himself, and then Bart gets this like complex about him about, oh well, no, like if you think it's the like, you know, the Simpsons doing history before history even existed, it's the whole fucking Trump thing.
yeah, well, like this was the big note that I took from it. So when Bart unexpectedly loses to Martin in the class president race, a picture of Martin holding a copy of the Daily Fourth Gradian with the headline "Simpson defeats Prince" is taken, which in turn ends up being on the front page of the Daily Fourth Gradian under the headline "Prince beats Simpson." This is a reference to the famous picture of former President Harry Truman holding a copy of a prematurely printed edition of the Chicago Tribune that proclaimed Dewey defeats Truman, taken the day after his unexpected victory over Thomas Dewey in 1948.
And I haven't done any research into that topic, but I wonder how closely related the story is, because obviously the whole point of the episode is it's shown like Bart is like winning this campaign trail throughout. Like he's got fucking, you know, what's the word for it? He's got a rally happening out the front of the school, which is where we get that scene of Bertram and Lisa watching him from the window.
Yeah.
And then right at the end of the episode, just before all the votes get counted, there's like a scene where like Bart gives his like final like speech or whatever it is, and then Krabappel says something to Martin about like, you know, do you want to do your final words? And he's like white and sickly, and obviously just been like beaten down by the fact that he can't fucking beat Bart in a popularity contest.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he says, but he's just like dying essentially.
Yeah.
And then he's walking around the playground doing his victory lap, asking everybody, oh, thanks for voting for me, man. And Nelson's like, I didn't vote. Voting's for nerds. And he's like, well, at least Milhouse did. And Milhouse is like, no. Lewis? No.
Didn't you?
Didn't you vote, Bart? And he's just like, no. Then we get that great scene. One vote for Martin, 2 votes for Martin.
I demand a recount. Okay. 1 for Martin, 2 for Martin.
You want another recount? No. Well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Rubbing his nose in it.
So for some reason, Homer is like infatuated with this idea that Bart's going to be class president because he thinks it's going to bring him success and all that kind of thing. And then we get the final end scene where he is like nearly crying at the dinner table because Bart's lost the race, and then realizes that Lisa is upset next to him and says like, what the fuck are you moping
Like with
about?
a much worse problem.
Yes, so much worse. Like she's completely disillusioned with the relationship he has with her father, who is completely ignoring her emotions while she's sitting right next to him.
Yeah.
And she tries to like stifle her emotions a little bit. She says like, nothing's wrong with me. And I can't remember what she says exactly, but his response to that is, hey, just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand, which is one of the most fucked things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So she stands up and like freaks the fuck out at him. She says, I'm glad that I'm not crying right now because I don't want you to think that anything I'm saying is based out of emotion, but you, sir, are a baboon. And then she just repeats the word over and over and over again. Really good voice acting from, what the fuck's her name?
Yardley Smith.
Yardley Smith. Like just that's specifically the last time she says it, the way that she can like augment her voice, like with that like gravelly tone to it almost when Lisa's angry is really cool.
Got
I like it.
It's almost like a growl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very like, because she doesn't voice many other characters, if any, in the show. She's like, must have just that one strong character.
And her regular speaking voice is extremely quiet.
Yeah. And it's super similar, like heaps high pitched.
Yes.
Like, very kid like.
Yeah, she doesn't have to. She's probably one of the only people that doesn't have to do much to her voice. Kind of
Doesn't force it.
not that she's saying she's not working hard, because she does those really like.
You're saying she's not working.
So Lisa gets upset, runs upstairs. Homer tries to play the victim, and Marge says, "No, fuck you. You don't get to be upset right now.
Yeah.
You completely like ruined your relationship with your daughter. So go upstairs and fucking there it is."
Well done.
I know I already had one, but it's all right. Wait, did I? No, it was last week's.
No, it was a children's film.
Podcaster was wrong. So he goes upstairs and is finally in his own way able to like reconnect with his daughter, which is, yeah, I don't know. It's like sort of showcased in heaps of different episodes. It's not, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a lazy kind of thing, but there's just this like constant charm that Homer has.
Yeah.
I suppose that he's like able to.
When he plays on his dumb side, I think that comes out.
Yes, because it's, I don't know, it's a lot of the time he likes to act like he's not stupid.
Yeah.
Or he refuses to believe it. But yeah, when he actually.
Square root.
It's a right triangle, you idiot. When he actually sort of, understands it and just like deals with it in himself for that period of time, it allows other people to connect with him on a deeper level.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like he's oblivious, and because he's like so oblivious kind of thing, or like very self-centered, he's shut off from a lot of things going on around him. When you look at like all right, I'll read through my like very last note. It's a big one, but this is probably the most well-rounded Simpsons episode, showcasing every member of the family in a different way. Lisa's intelligence and lack of a strong male influence, Homer's oblivious nature towards his daughter before he realizes his wrongdoings and corrects it in only a way he knows how. Bart not caring about something until he's been challenged, running an entire political campaign, but, you know, in typical Bart style, completely lapsing on actually getting people to vote for him. And then Marge being aware of all the situations around her, but not really stepping in until she feels it's necessary, or she's trying to give Homer his chance to understand things in his own time before she sort of realizes, okay, I need to like force my hand in this situation, which is not the first time that they've shown Marge's character like that, but I think that's what Marge's character ends up being and is best used. She's like she's just like the anchor of the family. She's constantly aware of how everybody else is feeling and how to like talk them down or get people to do things that are going to mend relationships like she does. You know, she knows exactly when it's time to put her foot down and tell Homer, no, shut the fuck up. You're not a victim right now. Go and fix things.
Yeah. Yep. This is probably like the starting point to Homer knowing that that's what he should be openly relaying with his kids, is that sort of silly nature that he brings, which comes back into the show at several points. One that comes to mind is like Lisa the vegetarian episode, I think, when Homer doesn't understand at first why she won't eat meat, but eventually throughout the episode, Lisa, I don't know, maybe unknowingly teaches him a thing or two about just respecting other people's beliefs or like what they want.
Yeah.
And like gives her a veggie back ride.
That's right. That's what I was. Yeah. Because as soon as you said that, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like the end of the episode, he's like walking down the street with her.
Yeah. That's it.
There's even like a nice like sort of horseshoe moment with it later on. You know, the episode where they're at the Ren Fair and she sees her future.
Yeah.
Where she gets married.
Yeah.
And like it specifically has like the reverse of this situation where it's Lisa defending Homer's sort of emotional core because of the cufflinks.
Yep. That's
you
right.
know? It's like, I don't know, it's nice to sort of see that like they sort of thought it forward on that like Lisa eventually learns to truly understand Homer's motives and how he is.
Yeah, that's true.
And that like he might not be the smartest person in the world, but he always has like decent intentions with the things that he's doing.
And he loves her all the same.
Exactly.
Well, even more to the point, it's shown like even harder with the scene straight after that where she comes like out of that fantasy like dream situation, and Homer just turns up and starts talking about the most inane shit that she doesn't give a fuck about, but she's just excited to see him.
Yeah.
And like happy to listen to the dumb shit that he wants to talk about because she understands that this is his way of communicating with me.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of episodes that are coming to mind now of Lisa and Homer sort of building their relationship, like when they go in the sensory deprivation tanks as well.
Yep.
Like he also doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to take it to that ISIS exhibit and ends up
Breaking in with her.
yeah, which is a nice round moment. And they hear that sound that comes out of the thing that's never been opened.
That's right.
The orb of ISIS, I think it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, a good scene that just came to mind from that is when he gets the cherry picker. And he's
stuck in the bridge.
Nah, when he's trying to like bribe the cherry picker guy with something. He's like, I got you these balloons. He's like, I already got balloons, but that one's this nice. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for him. Quite good. I've got one more note just about Dustin Hoffman performing Mr. Bergstrom. It was fucking brilliant. Like, his cadence in all his scenes were just so good. I think maybe for a guest star, like being drawn in as a character, he got a lot of screen time as opposed to some other guest stars that appear in the show. Maybe apart from like Frank Grimes and Hank Scorpio, because they're like completely based around them. But this episode really showcased Bergstrom the most out of anyone, I would say. At this point in time, for sure.
Yeah, probably like animation wise, the most we've been focused on a member of the show that isn't a member of the family.
Correct. And this was probably one of the first guest stars that went under a pseudonym in the credits. And I wondered why, like, you wouldn't want to be associated with a show of that caliber. And I think there was a note saying he didn't want to be associated with a cartoon at the time. That was the only reason he went under the pseudonym Semitic.
Right.
And then we looked into that, and Semitic is like Jewish faith, and anti-Semitism is not liking the Jewish faith. Yeah.
Alrighty.
That's it.
Is he like the first like A-list celebrity? Like, at the time he was an A-list star.
Huge.
Is he like the first A-list actor to ever be on the show as well?
No, we had Lovitz a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, there's been just the recurring one of like John Lovitz.
At the time, I wouldn't
say he was bigger than Dustin.
No, he's not like Dustin Hoffman was like a movie star.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like John Lovitz is like, big for like that comedy SNL sort of like era that he was in. Era. Like incredible work, obviously, but not like a A-list celebrity.
You're probably right. And like, funny you bring that up. In maybe a month's time, we cover the first season of the first episode of season 3, which isn't on Disney Plus, which is the Michael Jackson episode.
Oh, so it isn't actually there.
No,
fuck, that's wild.
It can't be turned on. Like, we've got the DVDs. Lots of Michael Jackson in there. Could have said something much worse, but chose.
Well, what do we have here? Looks like the biggest ripoff since Webster.
Oh, please, Mr. Coleman, we can explain.
I'm listening.
Your toy company is evil.
Well, isn't it possible for an evil company to make people happy?
Are you saying the end justifies the means?
That's a very glib interpretation.
Hey, don't talk to my sister that way. No, Bart, he's right. I did oversimplify.
This is the same week we recorded the first part. Nothing has happened since. We're wearing the same clothes, as you can see. Absolutely no discrepancies in the timeline.
None at all.
No. The use of anachronism is high in the No Kids 3 Money podcast.
I don't know what that word means.
Basically just a like inconsistencies in timelines, essentially.
No copies of The Sims 4 were played.
Correct. Absolutely no 70 gig files for 3 months.
Season 11, episode 9.
Yes. Titled Grift of the Magi. Is that how I pronounce it?
Magi, I think.
Grift of the Magi. Synopsis reads, Principal Skinner hires Fat Tony's construction company to build wheelchair ramps for the school. These ramps promptly break down, forcing Skinner to close down Springfield Elementary. However, a toy company led by Jim Hope takes over the school. In school, the children are only taught to provide marketing schemes and suggestions. Soon, a new toy called Funzo that mysteriously resembles the children's ideas is invented. After a brief showdown, Gary Coleman and the Funzo... That makes no sense. Things return to normal as Burns decides to fund the school after a visit from 3 Christmas spirits.
What?
Wait, what part didn't make sense?
After a brief showdown, Gary Coleman and the Funzo, things return. Like,
Oh, the sentence
Is that
just
literally
ends
how
there.
it's written?
yeah. Love proofreading.
What the fuck?
It's Wikipedia for you.
That's not helpful. Neither is my first note that just says Johnny.
That was in reference to the hairiness.
Right, Robin Williams level of hair.
So the quote from Brockman is, residents are advised to stay inside unless you wear sunscreen or are very, very hairy. Experts recommend a class 9 or Robin Williams level of hair coverage. And it has like a still shot of Robin Williams essentially just covered in hair except for his eyes.
Hang on. I'm confused now because isn't... So wait, the first scene is like the sunbeam chasing Millhouse, right?
No,
Was that
first-
another episode?
No, it's this
thinking of?
episode.
Yeah.
I think the Ken Brockman thing comes up first on the TV, and then it shoots to outside, and Millhouse is being chased by the sun ray.
So is there just like a massive time discrepancy in this episode? Because literally at the start of it, Millhouse is being chased, like it's a heat wave, obviously.
And then
He's
it's
being-
Christmas.
And then it's Christmas. Is there like a fucking, like a whole 6 month, like, it doesn't
then-
show at any point in time that there's like a massive time gap.
Probably just implied because they've obviously got to rebuild the school. The school's closed for X amount of time. They've got to then find what the kids want
Oh, okay.
in terms of a toy.
I was forgetting that. So yeah, that's really like the only like implication that you get that there's been like a time jump. But
I wouldn't know anything about that.
No.
We would never know anything about that either.
no.
We hear it. No Kids 3, Monty. Don't do that. Monty.
Okay, so I suppose that makes a little bit of sense, but it's still relatively like it's I don't know. You look back at the episode from season 11 last week, and they make a massive emphasis on there being a time skip because Manjula was pregnant.
Yeah.
Remember that scene where like they're all in the car and they're talking about I experienced this, and Lisa was like I was the most popular girl in school, but I lost it because I became too conceited and shit like that.
Was that last week's episode?
That was last week's episode.
Yeah.
So they make a whole like song and dance about. Well, yeah, it will be last week's episode. It's going up. Yeah, whatever. They make a whole song and dance about there being a time skip, and then they just show the kids playing TV in this one. It just seemed weird to me that there was like no emphasis on like, oh, there's a whole like, I don't know. Even if they just put like a little fucking like, you know, thing that just said like 3 months or fucking something like that. It was just very strange. And I know it's only just occurred to me now because, yeah, at the end of the episode, they're all in winter coats and it's
Yeah.
Christmas time.
The episode was released, I think, a week before Christmas in 1999 as well. So
It's obviously a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Most of it's themed around toys and a toy company, and then like Homer is dressed as Santa at the end of it. Yeah.
it's basically like every year there's a new fad in terms of a toy, especially back in the 90s as well, where everything was competing with one another. So it's like quite good in terms of time frame and delivery.
And it's obviously supposed to just be a rip-off of like Furby,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. A thing that comes up a lot in whenever I'm playing board games, and it has ever since I've seen this episode, regardless of what the board game is, that the zoning disc is warped. I say that every time I open a board game, or at least think it.
What the fuck were they trying to play?
It was like Clam Traffic Jam, and then the board game with the zoning disc that was warped was like something about, I don't know, running a town maybe. Can't
Yeah, it
recall
had
the-
something to do with like politics or something like that.
Yeah. It was obviously,
Something fucking
area
lame.
related.
Yeah.
Is it like a rip of like Settlers of Catan or something?
Probably.
Like that? Yeah.
Yeah. My next note is just the mob roll in so quick. So that's obviously, we skipped a couple of things. So context wise, it was Bart and Millhouse
That's right.
dancing
Yeah.
on Homer and Marge's bed in the women's outfits,
Mm-hmm.
which was good. And then sisters are doing it for themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I couldn't remember how Fat Tony got involved.
Yep.
So Bart breaks his ass, essentially.
coccyx.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is your ass bone or your tailbone
Yeah.
over a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Then he's in the hospital with the viewing window. This is
A fanny
This
cast.
is a teaching hospital. And one of the doctors says that he needs to exercise or something. So then he's trying to roll himself up the stairs. And yeah, Fat Tony walks out from behind a suspiciously small tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Lisa brings up that, like, aren't all public schools meant to have wheelchair access?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
where
what
he
prompts
comes
it. Yeah,
into
he
it.
just walks up and says that he can start construction essentially immediately. The trucks roll up fucking like 20 seconds later. How did the trucks get here so fast?
They're always rolling.
to prevent any legal complications.
You can hear a jackhammer immediately as soon as the trucks pull
They're
up.
already like pouring concrete and shit instantly.
They found me in a concrete pour.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a time skip there, which is what like sort of also confuses me a little bit because there's like a blatant like, okay, construction has happened kind of thing.
It starts and finishes within the same scene.
Yeah, and then Skinner comes like back and starts questioning Fat Tony about a couple of things, and he just starts saying all this weird shit. Skinner goes, "You're getting a little too philosophical for me." Maybe. They say that happens in the autumn years.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a good line just before that as well. I can't remember what it was, but that was what made Skinner say the philosophical.
Yeah, he's just essentially like quoting lines from a movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Just being very poetic and twirling a cigar around in his hands while he's doing it.
Trying to off-put Skinner from the problem that is all the ramps that are built are just shoddy and like make no sense. They sort of look like a roller coaster has been smashed into the school.
Oh, that's right. He asked him why there's so many ramps.
Yeah.
I can't remember what Fat Tony replies to that with. But then they have the opening.
It'll last into the new millennium or something like that.
That's right. They have their opening ceremony and he finds out they're made out of breadsticks.
I've got a really good like Skinner quote. It was in his speech. So this is a proud day. Now, when people ask if we're in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1975, I can say we're closer than ever before. Now, to inaugurate our ramp system, here's the first of what I hope will be many disabled students. Bart Simpson. I just wrote such a fucked up delivery of how to say your school is handicap accessible.
Yeah. And then Bart turns up and starts bouncing his ass off the ground.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah. Scattered applause. So, sort of like the scattered boos.
Yeah. Then Fat Tony threatens him. And that's what sort of causes the whole. Because we jump through like a couple of like, I don't know. There's like a couple of like sort of quick-ish, 3 like almost setups to the real main story. Because there's no side plot to this episode.
Yeah.
As opposed to what there is in the other 2. So they sort of spend a fair bit of time going through a bunch of situations that really lead into the whole, you know, the toy company taking over the school. Fat Tony threatens him, and then he realizes that he doesn't have the money to pay him because Fat Tony says, "I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't give me the money." So he sells the school, and then that's when that imaginary time skip happens and the kids are at home watching TV. And sorry, I'm skipping a little bit ahead. They go straight to Skinner's house and have that like reception. Everybody's asking him those questions like, why'd you close the school? How could you do this kind of thing? And Homer's like, where are the refreshments? Told you, over there.
Yeah.
And that's, hang on, what the fuck else happens in that scene? Mo walks up and says something about the bags on his feet.
Yeah, I didn't write that down. I thought you did.
No, neither did I. But I think they come to that's when he comes to the conclusion that they need to make a plea to Mr. Burns because he's the only person that can afford it, and he thinks the best way to do that is with a school play.
Yeah.
And I got my scenes completely mixed up. I was expecting the whole like it's Kern's stupid thing.
Me bad want money now.
Yeah.
That's Burns Air episode.
Ooh, he signed really good.
So it starts with Nelson either putting salt or rat poison into
that's right,
the big thing that's cooking.
Yeah.
And Burns is like infatuated with the story already. And he's like, oh no, that's the rat poison. And then Nelson claims that because his school closed down, he can't tell the difference or he can't read. Then the next scene comes and Bart's in the ambulance with Burns laying out the back of it like a doll of Mr. Burns.
Just dragging his head along the ground.
Yeah. And then he says, like, I can't read a map because I'm stupid. My school closed down, blah, blah, blah.
He like mispronounces a word in there too as well, which I thought was a nice touch. I can't remember what it was, but it was like noted in the subtitles that he like lisps a certain word.
Maybe hospital.
Something like that. He says hospital. That's right. It goes to fucking Ralph. I'm Dr. Stupid. Never liked that, Dr. Stupid.
I'm going to remove your liver bones. Like chops his head off.
Whoops, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good line from Burnsy.
The favorite one at the start where he's just like, focus. And Smithers is like, it's a placer.
Yeah. It's quite good. I think they only had this scene really because it would have made no sense for Burns to fund the school reopening at the end.
I mean, they could have gotten away with it in this day and age, like that just being some random fucking like put in, because it was obviously like the end scene is a takeoff of a Christmas movie, but I don't know what it is.
Or like National Lampoons or something.
No, like a famous Christmas movie. Help.
Which one?
I don't fucking know. Well, no, hang on. I think it's an amalgamation, I think, because like Burns is supposed to be like some form of Scrooge character, obviously, because isn't that the whole story of that he's like some rich shut-in that then like pays
like
for a
the
bunch of shit.
Like ghosts of Christmas, past, present, future.
Yes, I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, where the fuck was I? Oh, my next note is the ironing is delicious, so that must be the next scene.
I got a few in between that. So Kid First Industries takes over the school and redevelops all the classrooms and things like that. And I thought this was like a massive through line to the season 2 episode, also being based in a school with new people working there.
Oh, right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, which is now going to be affectionately referred to as the no kids, free money theory.
Okay, I like that. Patent pending.
Because it's ours. We're the ones that fucking found it.
For the through line stuff.
The through line stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
Maybe we need a snappier name, but like...
It's the kind I like.
I miss the soundboard, bro.
Yeah, me too. That one's just dangerously underused over there.
Probably misses his old Stream Deck. I'm kind of using it, like not using it out of protest until we get the Stream Deck back.
That makes no sense. You're protesting to people that also want the Stream Deck back. I'm just not using it because I can't reach it.
Quit stalling. Press the button.
No, it doesn't.
I know Killer misses the buttons the most out of everyone listening.
Oh, yeah.
Him and his buttons.
We'll get to Killer in a minute.
All right. There was one good scene before the ironing is delicious. So it's when they all bring something to show and tell. And Milhouse brings comes up in the caption as the busy box. I always thought it was the Vitty box or something like that.
Quickly, before we do that, did we mention who the teacher was?
No, not yet.
Right. So I thought it was Christian Slater, but it actually turned out to be
Tim Robbins,
who plays Andy Dufresne. I only know because I looked it up. I haven't seen the fucking movie. Don't worry.
I think that's touted as one of the greatest moves of all time.
I feel like it's one of the 3 movies you should have watched.
Yeah.
At some point.
What are the other 2?
Schindler's List,
I don't know,
Shawshank,
like the first Pokemon
Terminator
movie,
2.
Shrek.
You haven't even seen Terminator 2 in its entirety, have you?
No.
One of the greatest action movies ever made.
That is my favorite movie of all time. And you've still dodged it. I just can't sit still for an hour and a half. I don't need to watch this because I'm Edward Simpson.
Hey, I made it this far.
So the quote that I was going to say from Milhouse and his Vitty box being the little fucking shitty, like, it's a phone connected to nothing, a steering wheel and like a horn. I'm calling daddy. Good for you. Not being bound by the recommended age. Looks at it. It's like 3.
Ages 2 to 4.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
And then, yeah, the the quote that you said, the ironing is delicious.
Now I can't even remember where it comes up. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Lisa gets all. They pan over to the grade, not year 2, second grade classroom, and Lisa is just oblivious doing math problems.
Yeah.
So she gets detention. She's writing, "I will not do math" on the board, and that's right. Bart walks in.
Yeah, that's maybe one of my all-time most used things in real life.
Yeah.
Is anytime something's ironic, the ironing is delicious.
Once again, one of those things where you say it and cunts are like, "What?" And you're like, "Don't worry."
Yeah. Yeah. Only a few people get it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but we thank those people.
I knew it existed. I just completely forgot where it was, which is like a billion other quotes in my head. Like, there's so many quotes where you're like, I know this. I know it's from The Simpsons. I just don't know where.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to place it in this episode if I was asked, oh, where's that quote from?
A lot of these season 11 episodes are like, I don't know. It's one of those things is I always see people like sort of have that massive argument about like what are the particular golden years of The Simpsons. Like rewatching it, I think my opinion on that has sort of like changed or like widened almost. But I didn't realize how many of these like post season 10 or even like season 10 episodes and stuff have so many of these like memorable or like all time fucking quotes. I didn't think they were all completely relegated to the earlier seasons or like the mid like golden years, what you would call like maybe 4 to 8, something like that, where it's just like absolutely perfect. But yeah, I didn't realize that there was so many of them that like stretched out into the further seasons.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see how far that goes.
Yeah. And like even the season 21 episode that we're going to cover as well had a quote that I even questioned you. I was like, oh, I've seen that like being turned into a meme and I've never known what episode it came from.
Really? Which one? Oh, we'll get to it, but
it's the one that Wiggum says, like they see Homer speeding and Lou goes,
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, someone going that fast doesn't have time for a ticket.
Yeah, I've seen that everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Really, from season 21?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? Fuck. We'll have to maybe add some screenshots so people can understand where we're bringing it from as well.
Yeah.
Not just saying it.
I agree.
Okay, then.
I've got a couple of just like segmented pieces of the episode here. So a couple of noticeable sign gags that came up throughout was the danger broom closet.
Danger broom closet is fucking great.
And then one of the most memed signs of all time was at the end of the episode where Mo has his head in the oven and has no funeral taped to his back.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's like everywhere. That'd be one of the most sort of tattooed Mo scenes as well. I've seen it a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
People actually get that tattooed?
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
No funeral. Yeah. Quite good. And then the rule of threes, which comes up a lot in this episode in particular, like the ad for the Funzo. It's Funzo, Funzo, Funzo.
Yep.
Really nails home that point. And then it shoots to Bart in the house writing his like Christmas wish list. I want Funzo's dream house, Funzo's lower back pain chair, Funzo's European voltage converter. Why not get 3?
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. So perfect. 2 uses of 3 in that same scene.
Yeah.
And then there was one more. It was the cheering that the school is closed down as well. So like Skinner's breaking it to everyone in the crowd. And it's like, oh, the school is being closed down. Yay. Yeah, we're no longer able to afford these teachers. Yay. And then it was something else real sad.
Something even more
Yay.
depressing. And they're all just like, yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one where Milhouse is getting questioned in the classroom and he yells like 3 things out simultaneously, but I can't remember what it is. Something.
Don't know.
I never realized that when they're like showing the Funzo ad and then like the little girls got one and the little boys got one and she's excited about how it like looks or how it talks or something like that.
It's
and
soft and cuddly.
That's right. And he's excited about it having firepower and it shoots missiles out and hits her. And then it goes haw haw. And then when it comes up in the subtitles, it says like imitating Nelson, which I never realized that that's what it was doing. That's how, like, that's pretty fucking crazy market research for them to be doing. It's like, oh, this kid says something funny. Let's make the toy say that.
Yeah. Like we've seen this get a rise out of the class when he bullies people or like makes fun of people. Let's add that to the boy version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty like intense thing to fucking do. And then also like Bart already has the funds over this point in time. So they've like Lisa took all the like she took like Marge, Homer and Wiggum to like the school to try and show them that that's what was really happening in the broom closet. What does Wiggum say? And this better be good, Lisa. I left Ralphie in the bath all alone. Daddy, I'm ready to get out. Over. And then Homer essentially just explains the entire like not plot, but like the way the plot would be structured in an episode like this kind of thing. He literally says like, you know, oh, we're going to walk in here and there's going to be nothing in this broom closet, but and like, we're going to think you're crazy. But in reality, they've just moved everything and there really is a killer robot. And it turns out that you're not crazy in the end. Yeah. It's just like, that was a nice little, like that's how you break the fourth wall, in my opinion.
100%.
It's just like that nice little, like, you know, this is what we're doing and you understand it too, obviously.
It's a very meta joke.
Yes. Yeah. But that's the way to make one, as opposed to like what they do in the later seasons of just being like, hey, you watching?
Joke! Joke!
Reference!
And like even you brought it up last week in I think the season 21 episode where Homer says things that sound real smart and educated just randomly all throughout. Like, how does he understand the concept of like per se a horror movie making that scene build up in its intensity and like having things
that falls back to a degree with like that long going idea we have of Bart and Homer being like severely ADHD, because a massive trait of ADHD people is like pattern recognition. So when they I do it a lot. When I watch movies and stuff like that, I'll instantly go, this is happening, therefore that's going to happen, and that's why I get bored.
Right.
Because 90% of the time I'm right.
But you haven't watched many movies to test that theory. Police cars. Yeah, you think you've like surmised a whole film, therefore you don't have to watch it. And then when someone's talking to you about the film, you're like, oh yeah, this. No. That's not what happened. Another segment that I think we should start doing is Can't Say That Anymore. So this came up when Lisa was going to go basically fight this corporation herself because no one would believe her. And then Bart says, or Bart gets asked to come along or something like that. Lisa goes, aren't you outraged? No, but if you're going to throw a spaz, I'll come with.
Yeah. Which, you can't say that anymore.
Can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say it because we're quoting it?
Yeah, we're quoting it. It's
okay,
fine.
cool.
Oh, okay.
Disney said it first.
We're leaving it in.
Oh, it's 100%. Dude, if Disney doesn't have a problem with it, YouTube's not going to have a problem with it.
Yay.
Lots of continuity in there.
Say continuity?
Continuity.
So, yeah, Bart's at like home with the doll, and then I think they sort of both inherently it decapitates the Malibu Stacy and throws the body in the fire, then starts like strangling the Krusty doll. So they realize it's evil.
Mm-hmm.
And they then enlist Homer to like steal them all so they can burn them.
Yep.
Wait, hang on. Oh yeah, that's right. No. I'm in the right order. So yeah, then they like come up with that ploy of singing Christmas carols in front of everybody's house while Homer goes in the back door. They're in the car at the start and he's just like, okay, so who am I beating up? It's like, no one.
Just along for the ride.
Yeah, just ready to just crack skulls for no reason. What a good dad.
Oh yeah.
So then there's like, they go to the Wiggum's house and he like successfully steals it. Is it straight to the Hibbits after that where he gets attacked by the dog? And then the kids are trying to like sing Silent Night as loud as they possibly can because he's just getting mauled by this dog in the background.
Knocking everything over as well.
Yeah. So then they go to the tyre fire and throw the bag of funzos on the fire. One of them pops straight back out of the bag. I'm very mad at ooh, and falls back over.
Yeah.
Then like leading back into the point you brought up again of Homer like saying a lot of intellectual things that he doesn't understand. Gary Coleman turns up because he's like sort of found out that they're destroying all of the toys and says that they can't do that. Then they have this like very long conversation about how capitalism and commercialism has essentially destroyed the concept of Christmas.
Yep.
It goes on for like what seems
Overnight.
what seems to be a couple of hours, because then they have like I don't know, just typical Christmas movie voiceover guy kind of thing. I actually think it's a celebrity, but I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember his name. Clancy something, maybe.
I don't know anybody called Clancy something.
I don't even know what to press anymore.
It's been so long.
Everett.
Yes. Got that one right.
I slipped it into your podcast as a gag.
Next week.
Oh,
Right.
It is next week, isn't it?
So now here's the killer reference that I was alluding to earlier. Literally, all right, so they have that conversation, then one of the funzos gets like back out of the tire fire, like with the exoskeleton, which is a Terminator reference,
Yeah.
and then just screams the word love.
Why is that a killer reference?
Because the first time me and Killer ever hung out, we were at his place, and I can't remember what we were doing. We were just like sitting there doing something. He was like playing on his computer or his phone or something to that effect. And I just picked up this like stuffed animal that was next to me and just like shoved it into his face and just went, love.
All right. Okay. Perfect real life through line.
Yeah.
Now
He'll remember that one.
Yeah. Now we all know. I get
Don't know
jokes
why I did it. And I think the thing was like vaguely funzo shaped.
for this moment.
Yes, like maybe, I think that's maybe what triggered it, now that I think about it.
Okay. Even better.
Because I can't think of any other like reason why that would have come into my head.
Maybe, just maybe, this has already all happened. And we're from the future, just like Matt Groening. That's why so many real life through lines come up for us.
Holy shit.
Is because we've done this before. How philosophical do we want to get, lads?
It's getting way too abstract, but thank you. I do enjoy Simpsons podcasting.
I had a few notes about Gary.
This podcast used to have time travel in it. Come on, give me more.
Yeah, speaking of time skips,
Moon pie.
we have done a couple.
Time to be alive. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, this podcast is not time skipped.
Full of continuity.
Continuity, you say.
Continuity?
I took a few notes about Gary Coleman. My question was, how tall is Gary Coleman? He's 4'8". You're saying he's this tall? Like 2 Subway footlongs. Which I assume is 2 feet. So he was this tall because this was due to growing up orphaned.
What?
And also kidney disease.
Okay.
Left you on a cliffhanger there. But yeah, he had adoptive parents and then had some sort of kidney disease. So shortly after Coleman's death in 2010, an article appeared in the newspaper El Comercio that noted that the nod to the harsh reality of Gary Coleman in this episode is given. In real life, a few years ago, Gary had to make a living as a shop security guard. So before his death, this episode came into fruition in real life for him, where he was a security guard somewhere.
Fuck. So the Simpsons predicted, like,
Gary Coleman's demise.
Gary Coleman's darkest hours.
Oh, that's sad.
Wow.
Bet he never saw that one coming. Went straight over his head.
Like a lot of things.
That was a height-based joke.
Really went over his head.
I don't know. I don't know what to press. These buttons are weird. These buttons are weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
Yeah, I won't know myself. I'll have to get used to it again.
The last thing I have is the vague real life through line to our phones always listening to us now. with the fact that, like, you know, there was literal, like, people standing behind the chalkboards listening to the children,
Sort
like,
of.
taking market research.
Like Sims 4 type stuff.
Yeah.
Go on.
Is that thing still fucking recording?
Oh, yeah.
So, well, yeah, well, there's no real other point to make. It's just once again, another, like, sort of Simpsons. It's a very, very vague thing, but it's like we're sort of constantly being fucking watched and listened to now.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it was like, obviously the ploy was to commercialize Christmas, as you touched on, which was the point of this episode. And yeah, having people spying on you is obviously a terrible, like, idea to have, but is pretty much everyone's reality nowadays.
Yeah, pretty
There's
much.
tinfoil hats out there that just don't have a mobile phone capable of the internet for that exact reason. They just don't want to be spied on. But how interesting is anyone really to be warranted to be spied on?
Like, your information,
If that makes sense.
Your information is basically stolen just to sell shit to you. It's essentially what happens in this episode anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like Funzo is essentially their version of the For You page.
Pretty much.
Less racism.
True.
You know, less snuff films.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna need a little Bengay for your shoulder.
I'd like a fresh pair of socks tomorrow. A matching pair.
I want to put salt on things.
Tell me what my name is.
Take away my roommate. He's dead.
We have reached out to a couple of my esteemed colleagues at work for which should be the start of a new segment called The Thought Hole. It's essentially just a question or two that we'll ask the viewer. So please, if you have an answer to this question as well, write in via email, nokids3moneypodcast@gmail.com, and answer this question. Or you can comment on YouTube or Spotify. What quote pops up in your everyday life that immediately makes you think of The Simpsons? So we've discussed this at length. We've had so many of them. So we thought we'd ask others their point as well. One person at work said, pathetic. So referencing Skinner. And then another one was, this is the worst day of my life. This is the worst day of your life so far.
Those are two separate quotes, aren't they, though?
I thought it was as well. I thought it was the Lenny quote, but it was in the Simpsons movie.
But is that supposed to be a callback to it?
Could be.
Because I feel like Lenny uses that a couple of times,
Yeah, probably.
from what I can think of.
I feel like it's more more closely held to the Simpsons movie than anything else. It's like one of the big memorable jokes from the movie.
Yeah. So Bart, in this instance, says, this is the worst day of my life.
Yeah, I remember the scene. It's when he's like chained to the.
He's like naked.
Yeah,
chained.
why the fuck is he chained to the pole? Oh, that's right, because Wiggum arrests him and then just walks into the Krusty Burger. Then Homer also does the same thing.
Yeah. Leaves him nude.
That's right.
Not good. Another one was from another colleague of mine. I don't know. Okay, Mr. Burns, what's your first name?
Oh, yep.
And in context for this one, his answer was, can I play piano? Of course you can. Well, I couldn't before. He's a music teacher, so this comes up a lot in his day-to-day work life.
Dr. Zayas?
Dr. Zayas,
Yeah.
Dr. Zayas.
Yeah. I found that quite good. And there was another one from Futurama that he says comes up a lot. I didn't look up the whole quote, but it was, you might know it's the Slurm Factory episode. It's like the Oompa Loompas or whatever they are.
The Grunkalunkas, yeah.
Grunkalunka something, dun 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 dun. Something, don't ask about our secret ingredient.
I think they just make up words that rhyme with ingredient.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That was his other one. The other question that I asked was, what quote do you find pops up in your day-to-day life more than any other? So it's a similar one to what we just had, but okay, cut that bit. This was the next question that I asked. If you had to choose one Simpsons quote to explain how your life is going right now, what would it be?
One person said lousy March weather. In Australia, we have had a cyclone hit recently, and it's March, so it's either 40 degrees or raining and 40 degrees.
Yeah, one or the other.
Very
raining
annoying.
then 40 degrees, raining while 40 degrees, raining 40 degrees,
And then the other
raining at a 40-degree angle while raining 40 degrees.
just every iteration of 40 degrees possible happens all at once. And the other one was just dope. That was from another colleague.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So if you've got one out there,
Thanks for that one.
he put a lot of thought into that.
Real avid watcher there.
Oh, yeah. Another segment I want to...
We appreciate any input unless it's about your fucking weird relationship with your dad.
Exactly. At least we have input in general.
Yeah.
Another one.
Unlike your dad in your life.
He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. What did he say? No, something about his dead dad. Another segment I want to introduce as well is Mail Hole. So this is just write in or tell us about anything you want to tell us, and we'll read it, and you'll be credited for it, either under a pseudonym or the name of your choice, aka Timothy McVeigh, apparently.
Right. Do you have something, or are you...
No.
Oh, okay. You just telling people.
Just this first part and this one explaining it. You're kidding, right?
Kidding, right?
Okay.
Alrighty. So season 21, episode 11.
But these ones go up to 11.
That's right.
Why don't you just make 10 the loudest and 10 the most? You haven't seen Spinal Tap either, have you?
I have. I think you made me watch that.
Good.
How is that one of the 3 movies you've seen?
Harry Shearer's in it. He's one of the bass players.
Is he?
Yeah. And that's the funny thing about Spinal Tap. All the guitarists are bass players.
Oh, that's right. They are too.
Bam, 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 bam.
What song is that?
Big Bottom.
Yeah, that's right.
Talk about mud flaps, my girl's got 'em. All right. This episode is titled $1 Million Maybe. Long synopsis, so get some popcorn, folks. Homer and Marge are scheduled to give a toast at a wedding. Going separately, Homer stops to buy a lottery ticket even though it will make him late to the wedding. To make up for time, he drives recklessly and crashes. In the hospital, he learns he won $1 million, but Marge does not know why he crashed. To cover his tracks, Homer begins spending his windfall and anonymous gifts for the family, one of which is hiring alternative rock band Coldplay to perform for Bart. When he discovers what happened to Homer, Bart threatens to tell Marge unless Homer embarrasses himself. Instead, Homer tells Marge, who does not care as long as they have each other. Meanwhile, Lisa buys a video game system for the retirement home. However, the nurses destroy it because of the extra work they need to do after the seniors play with it. Pretty well much covers the entirety of the episode.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for part of it's like out of sync with the whole like Coldplay thing. That's after Bart discovers it. I'm pretty sure that's the first thing they do.
Yeah, I think that's why he gets him the Coldplay concert.
Yeah, to sort of like starts like lavishing him so that he won't. I don't think he sort of immediately establishes he's not going to tell Marge, or that he's going to tell Marge kind of thing if he doesn't share it. But yeah. Anyway, my first note is real big Seattle's best guy.
Oh, man. I've enlightened Ned to something that's happened on the internet, probably last year at some point. If anyone else is familiar with NRL, there's a player called Chad Townsend, and he, for whatever reason, thinks his life is interesting enough to vlog. So he's vlogged himself critiquing at a restaurant, or not critiquing, but just eating food at some form of restaurant. And he refers to himself as being a big something guy whenever he tries any sort of food. But he doesn't realize this until someone's taken the context and out of it and like made a joke of it, essentially.
There's like a 2-minute supercut video of this cunt just going like, I'm a real big sauce guy. I'm a really big skin guy. I'm a really big bread guy. It's like, what the
Love sourdough. Big sourdough guy.
Yeah. Just everything. And then it's like, It's also like the most confusing thing as well. It's like he's wearing the same clothes in most of this shit. So most of this is obviously like set in the same restaurant. What kind of restaurant is this that fucking serves just every kind of food known to man?
He's probably like the equivalent of like a Sizzler or something like that. They've just got bits and pieces of different cultures' food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
Big curry guy.
Yeah.
And then Big McFlurry guy also comes up.
Yeah, that's right. The you like literally moves on to dessert. Yeah, love ice cream. Big ice cream guy. Big McFlurry guy. It's like, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, big red meat guy. Not a big white meat guy.
Fuck.
It's great.
It was fucking
You
fantastic.
gotta show me the supercut later.
Oh, yeah. Why don't we show you now, therefore you get it. And
Oh.
we can just cut around. I don't think he's done a food vlog since then.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't have done one in the first place.
It's not riveting. It's pretty much MD Foodie Boys before they were popular.
I just don't understand this fucking like concurrent trend of like, oh, you know, I've spent like the last 15 years just professionally getting concussions. I'm now going to speak on camera.
Big CTE guy.
Huge brain damage guy.
Huge pissing in my mouth guy.
That was Todd Carney, but close enough. They were both halfbacks.
That's still my favorite fucking NRL fact.
Oh, the bubbler, as he likes to be called.
Bro, it's fucking hilarious.
What is it with like, and they're all Roosters halfbacks too.
Yeah. Chad is now. What a
Mitchell
name.
Pearce was.
Oh, yeah. Big dog rooter guy. Big dog fondler.
Matt loves rooting Kings.
To get back on topic here, there was a through line pretty much immediately. So Burns is in some sort of electronics store and Lisa's in the same store.
So go side plot first.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll cover the side plot. Lisa's there to get like a TV antenna essentially because the old folks are just watching static and they don't know how to fix it. So they've got like a fistful of cash that they were going to give to the next telecommunications televangelist. So she goes to the store and then Smithers and Burns are there playing a Funtendo Z. So straight away the through line is fun.
Yeah,
for
obvious.
Funzo.
Yeah.
And even the Z part instead of we could be like Fun Z, Funzo.
Yeah, they could have gone with like a bunch of other letters. It seems very coincidental that it's also a Z. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, then Burns is like mowing down fucking
Nazis.
Yeah, that was funny, but all right. So my note for that is Burns shooting a German joke was okay, but it kind of just like in one sort of like throwaway joke that they felt the need to make and just kind of like retcons one of the best episodes of The Simpsons ever.
Which is?
The Hellfish episode.
Yeah, true. Because they were fighting
He
in
was
Germany.
part of the US Army.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can make some convoluted explanation. And it's like, maybe he was a spy kind of thing. But it's like, you know.
He was a shit soldier.
He was a shit soldier, but he was a US soldier at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, the quote that makes that do a backflip is like, wait, I'm shooting at Nazis? That's not how I remember it.
That's not how I remember it.
Yeah.
But in that first scene when he's mowing them all down, like, and saying how much like fun he's having, every single one of them does the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking hate the Wilhelm scream. I hate it so much.
And I feel like that's why they used it for every single one. Because like it would have been annoying if it was like, oh, we'll just put this in there for one of them kind of thing, like it's usually used in a movie. But they like he mows down like 7 or 8 soldiers and they all do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was the effect that they were trying to make there.
Yeah.
So-
Is it also one of those things, I can't remember what it's called, it's like a common something that people can use?
Yeah, it's like Creative Commons.
Creative
It's
Commons.
a free sound effect. That's why
Okay.
it's in every fucking movie ever.
The one thing they could have done better is instead of doing that for all of them, just use one of them as the Iron Man scream. Which was used in the movie Broken Arrow, which was fucking hilarious.
That's where it's from, isn't it?
That's probably the earliest thing I've seen it in, which was like a mid-90s / late 80s movie.
Yeah. And I don't think Nutrigrain existed before then.
Yeah, that was where we saw it growing up.
Oh, fuck it. I can't. Oh.
Does America have Nutrigrain?
I don't know.
They've only got sugary, mass-produced shit cereals.
Yeah. open up there, Keeks.
Trying to look up the Broken Arrow thing.
Oh, right. The scene itself. It's like he's falling from a train. Keegs be pondering.
I'm pondering. It's called the Dewey Scream. For anyone at home.
Contextual wise, for this particular scene of the episode being German soldiers.
With a D.
Can't stress it enough. It's DEWEY, I assume.
Correct.
Oh, wait. Did you say it's the Dewey Scream?
Yeah.
I mean, it relates back to the first part of the episode. But
mowing down so-and-sos.
No. Well, that and the fact that, like, when, you know, we mentioned at the end of the episode that there's that reference with Martin and Bart and the newspaper thing, where it was a reference to Dewey defeats Truman.
There we go. But they didn't actually use it.
They didn't actually use it, but, you know.
They did now.
Really put my tinfoil hat on for this one, boys.
That's just one of those real life through lines.
Yes.
What? Oh, it's the camera, not me. Okay, good. I can try.
My next note's about Lovejoy just being a condescending arsehole and just passive aggressive. I can't remember exactly what he said, but there was a scene with him in it where he's just berating someone.
One of the old folks or Lisa? Because, yeah, we're trying to get through the subplot.
True. Cut that bit out.
Well, yeah, to quickly, so, like, we get that scene, Burns is in the store, then Lisa decides that this is going to be a great idea for the old folks. And then there's, like, one or two, like, scenes where they're, like, they sort of start playing it. It's Jasper and Grandpa, and then it's also Jasper and Grandpa again in the second scene, where they seem to be a lot more lively.
Yep.
Then it starts panning around to a bunch of the other old people, and like it's obvious that they're all more lively, and they start piping up and saying a bunch of things.
Yeah.
I only wrote down one of them because it was fucking great. I've never seen this like character model before or anything, but he says something at the start, then one of them says something about like I want like fresh pairs of socks or something every day, or and then he pipes up again and he's like, "Tell me what my name is."
There was another good one. It was like, and I want my roommate taken out. He's dead.
He's dead. Yeah. That was old Jewish man.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what he's called.
Jewish, eh? Death, eh?
Racism, eh?
Dewey Scream.
So yeah, they're all like getting uppity, and the nurses are obviously fucking
having to do more
and not really enjoying it. So then, you know, cut away to the main plot, and then we come back again to Lisa visiting the old folks' home, and they're all sitting there watching the static again.
Yep.
And she's like, "What the fuck happened? Like, what's wrong with the game?" One of the nurses goes, "Oh, you think it'd be dishwasher safe, but it's not. Why would you put it in the dishwasher?" And then they just sort of look at each other, and she's like, "Oh," comes to the conclusion that it's like, "Oh, you want them to essentially be zombies so that you don't have to do anything about your job." And then doesn't really argue past that point.
Because they essentially say, like, we're around death so much that it's already a pretty fucked up job, let alone having to tend to their needs.
Yeah, like they make their points, but their points aren't really valid.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
By any means, if you sign up to do a job, you should do the fucking job that you're paid for.
But the thing, like the point that I sort of took from it is Lisa doesn't usually give up that easily, and it may be a weird point to make, but she seems less inclined to argue with women as opposed to men.
Yeah.
Not from any, like, you know, like misogynistic, like, point of view or anything like that, but she does seem more inclined to, like, argue with an adult male than she does with, like, she opposes Marge every now and then kind of thing, but generally, and it's generally because they are more similar of a personality, but she argues way more with, like, Homer, and, I don't know, she's even been shown to be opposed to, like, Skinner on several occasions and stuff like that. Whereas, like, even if she's opposed to something that, like, Miss Hoover might say to her, she's not really argumentative about it.
Yeah, she can see their plight a bit easier than she can a male's.
Yeah, which is 100%, like, you know, that's,
they
like...
probably show her more respect, or, like...
Yeah.
They understand that she's
more intelligent than the next kid. Therefore, they give her more sort of time and respect.
Yeah.
Whereas the male people she talks to seem to be more dismissive of her.
Which is generally
she
just
raises a good point.
It's generally just how it would be, kind of thing. Like if, like, you know, men in that situation encountered somebody so like hyper intelligent as Lisa is, it's
A lot of them
intimidating.
would be scared.
Yes.
Yeah, precisely. There was one other thing in the subplot that was maybe a through line to our teen lives. The quote was from Grandpa, "I'm going to call you Benson and Hedges because you're getting smoked." Our dart of choice growing up.
Yep.
B&H Smooth.
Yeah, now they're what, like $50 a pack?
Yeah.
Wouldn't even want to know.
Probably.
It'd be something fucking horrendous like that.
I mean, I bought a pack of something last week from a pub, so it was in a vending machine. It was a 20 pack, $56.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Did you at least get a fucking happy ending with that? What the fuck?
Oh yeah, stuck it right in there.
Getting mine one way or the other.
It's nearly fucking $3 a cigarette.
Yeah,
That's fucked.
That's
absurd.
ridiculous.
It's like they don't want you to smoke or something. All this time I've been smoking harmless tobacco.
I'm trying to remember exactly what happens, like, sort of in the main plot now. Oh yeah, Homer.
so
It starts off with Homer and Marge singing, which instantly Marge singing fucking annoys me. So I don't know why they need to keep doing that to us.
Yep.
Um,
So they're singing for the purpose of doing a duet at a wedding.
a cousin's wedding or something like that, and
Yeah.
their cousin is Asian
Yes.
because their cousin is the cousin in the fucking situation is the female one.
Yep.
Which they like, I can't remember what her name was, but that's what they allude to. And then, yeah, she is sort of like blatantly an Asian lady.
Yeah.
That made no fucking sense to me. I was like, what? Hang on. Because it doesn't show like who her parents are and they're like how they're related to the Simpsons in any way, shape, or form. So it's just this like no context.
It must have been established in an earlier season episode.
Maybe, but like not anything that I can fucking remember.
Like, is Cookie Kwan intertwined with their genetics at all?
Literally the only other Asian lady in the show.
That's all I can put it down to. Is like there must have been some sort of crossover.
Selma's baby. I don't know.
Yeah, might have been Selma's grown-up baby.
No. But they can't do that.
I think I've already like touched this point
Yeah.
before. It's like they have like that one episode that centers around Selma's baby, and then she appears like 4 more times in her entirety in the entire show.
Yeah.
Like they just don't ever mention that she exists again.
Yeah.
Like this huge character defining moment for a character, and there's gone.
We don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yes, it's there.
The soundboard's back, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, it's not there.
Yeah, so Homer's supposed to be like on the way to the wedding reception.
Yep.
And stops at the Quickie Mart to buy a lottery ticket for some reason.
The reason he's buying the lottery ticket is because at work, like a string of coincidentally lucky things happened to him, and Lenny kept saying that it's your lucky day, essentially. So he falls into a candy machine and all the candy falls out. And then he's walking to his car and he finds a compact disc of, why did I say compact disc? A CD.
Because that's what he says.
Okay.
Is that a disc? I hope it's compact.
Yeah. And it's some random fucking...
I've no idea who the band was, but the song is just talking about somebody being a lucky man.
Yeah.
So
and there's like a evil and good thought bubble, essentially, and Lenny's the evil one. And then Marge is the voice of reason saying, hey, you're going to be late. And then Lenny's bubble pops hers.
That's right, and then convinces him to go inside and buy the ticket.
And then we get a scene of just a massive line for these lottery tickets, which for some reason is taking forever. And Homer then rings Marge up to sort of come up with an excuse as to that he's on his way, but he got stopped for something in traffic. And then
He
they
got
all-
stopped by a train, and then like all the people around him start making steam train noises.
I've got written a bunch of autistic people at the Quickie Mart making train noises.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Because they were really good at it.
And they all bought in.
Yeah, and just did it without fucking... Like, one of them started and the rest of them just started fucking stimming on instinct.
Yeah. What do I do here? Oh, I don't know. I don't want to be found out. Choo-choo-choo.
All right. So he eventually makes it all the way up to the front of the line, buys the lottery ticket, and then he's speeding to the event. He says something like, "Oh, I'm going to make it, and then it sort of pans across town to the wedding reception, and Marge is just sadly singing up the fucking...
Yeah.
Which I don't understand what... Like, I understand why she did kind of thing, but it's like, you know, there's always just that, like, real-life perspective you have to look at things from, and it's just like, I would never fucking do that.
No.
If you were supposed to sing a duet with somebody and the other person didn't turn up, it's like, I'm not going to go up there and sing half a song.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. This segment has been cancelled.
Pretty much. Yeah,
your
this isn't
pleasure.
gonna happen. We're just gonna move on to the next thing.
Yeah. And on his way there, that's when we get that well-memed quote that we discussed earlier.
That's right. Yeah, where Wiggum says, the fuck does he say?
He says, "Let him go, Lou. Someone going that fast has no time for a ticket."
Yep, that's right. He's gone like 110 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fast.
And yeah, we were just amazed that it was in such a late season, but it's such a well-known quote.
It's not a particularly like good joke or anything like that, but it is just, yeah, like it gained so much popularity on the internet. You'd think it was from something a little earlier. But then we also should have known as well, like just by the animation, because we like we noted that like in season 20 when they completely switched over to like that fully digital animation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, true. A lot of the like suggested shorts that I get now are of later season episodes. There's never any like classic scenes. It's always something I've never watched before will be like the thumbnail for it.
That's weird because mine's the complete opposite. I only get classic scenes. I never get new stuff.
Maybe it's because I click on the new things because I'm like, I want to see what it's like.
Maybe it's because my phone hears me ranting about it endlessly and it's like, maybe if we show him this, he'll break us.
He couldn't be more annoyed at new season stuff. So one of the next scenes that like captured our attention, I suppose, was like Homer driving to the thing again on that windy road, and he gets distracted for whatever reason and plummets off the edge. And as he falls, it shoots to another random character driving another car, delivering some sort of like speeches to, this is what happens in Springfield. Like he's just moving there. And then it cuts to him just immediately plowing into the fucking wall and exploding.
Yeah, is there a reference for that?
Yeah, quite a big one actually. So the episode featured a new character created by the winner of the Best Character Ever contest, in which fans could submit their own ideas for a new and possibly recurring Simpsons character. Over 25,000 entries were sent in. The winner of the contest was 52-year-old Peggy Black from Orange, Connecticut, who created the character Ricardo Bomba. She described Ricardo as someone that all the women love and all the men want to be. Black's inspiration for the character came from the fact that there were no characters like him on The Simpsons, and she thought Springfield needed something like a Casanova. As part of the winning prize, Black was sent to work with the show's producers in LA. She worked with the animators to bring the character to life. In an interview with the Associated Press, Black stated she described the character and they drew him so I could see if that was my vision of him. She continued, "It's amazing to see how they captured what I imagined. He's over the top." Executive producer Al Jean was one of the judges on the contest, which he described as a thank you to loyal fans. Jean also noted that there is a possibility the Ricardo character might appear on the show again, although this seems unlikely since the character appears to have been killed in a fiery car crash.
That's actually pretty fucking hilarious. To go through all of that shit and be like, you might possibly get a recurring character. Literally give them one line and then murder them.
Yeah. I like the comment of a thank you to the loyal fans. So they've clearly put this contest in a place in time where people have stopped watching, but to regain viewership and engagement, they've finally reached out to the fan base asking them what they want. And they've seemingly chose something that has no real inflection on the show at all.
Yeah, you're right.
So they've basically said fuck you to Peggy Black.
I mean, I suppose, like, I don't know. That's the kind of joke that, like, the joke itself is funny kind of thing, but is it really worth the joke?
They probably just should have chose someone else who, out of the 25,000 entries, who designed a character that was probably inevitably a million times better than that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like, what the fuck were you going to do with a Casanova character in...
And like thinking about it more, the recurring characters that they could have used, such as like Frank Grimes, Hank Scorpio, anyone like that, they didn't. Because they knew it was funny in that one instance where if they were a recurring character, it wouldn't have the same presence.
Yeah, you're right. It'd make no sense if like Grimy didn't die at the end of the episode that he's in and he just became a background character at the fucking power plant.
Yeah.
Everything that happened loses all effect.
Yeah. So when they suggested that it'll be a recurring character, they clearly had no intention of doing that.
Oh, fuck no. They lied straight to her face.
Yeah.
So yeah, they don't give a fuck.
No. Clearly, they put out such just trash, pure trash.
Oh, it was shown by last week's episode when they thought it was fucking, you know, what did they
Funny.
say? Oh, the best is yet to come. It's like, yeah, okay. We'll see about that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, then there's just like sort of a couple of montage scenes of, well, yeah, Homer's in hospital and then realizes that he's won the lottery.
Yep.
Gets Barney to pick it up for him and then hides it all in the tree.
I think that was a pretty good scene of Barney accepting the check. So they've got this big check for $1 million. And then they say, oh, yeah, well, you're not actually getting $1 million. And then the tax man, essentially like Uncle Sam, comes out with his side of the check, which is for basically a third of the winnings.
$386,000.
Yeah. So essentially a third of $1 million.
Oh, it's...
And like, I don't know if that's a thing in Australia. You don't get taxed on your winnings here. If you...
I think you do.
Large sums of money you do.
But
like,
not... but
in a lottery, yeah, but gambling, no.
But not to that degree. Not like you do over there. It's like in California, it's like a 50% tax or some shit like that. If you win $1 million, they take half of it.
And he said something like the Uncle Sam character said something about what he'd be putting it towards.
He says this money will go towards funding a study of what this money could potentially be spent on.
So it's basically saying they're going to piss it away while they try and come up with what they're going to use it on.
Yes, we're just going to blow it all up the fucking wall
Yeah.
or up our nose or what, you know, whatever we decide to do with it.
Yeah. I'm going to give myself a raise. There was a salacious headline of Hitler loves Nazi baseball. That was one thing that Homer wanted to buy with the winnings was Hitler's baseball.
That's right. It's like the first, like, that was one of the only, like, quotes that I wrote down from the episode. When he says something about, he says, I should buy Hitler's baseball or a mirror that can, like, tell me, or a mirror that can tell me things.
What to buy. And
then he imagines the mirror, and the mirror goes, I think you should buy Hitler's baseball.
I looked up if, like, that was an actual thing, and the article that I saw had that headline of Hitler loves Nazi baseball. That's the only reason I put that in there.
Okay.
Yeah. There wasn't anything defining like Hitler had a baseball since birth or whatever.
Right. Or here's, you know, a baseball signed by Hitler.
Yeah.
Stop saying Hitler. Do we have to bleep that?
Who wants to see me lose?
Definitely have to bleep that.
Oh. And cancelled.
Daughter.
Oh, man. We'll be in the pits of hell in no time.
So, like I said, there's just a couple of montage scenes of Homer fucking buying a couple of things for the family. Like, he's just splashing out and buying, like, new washers and a light show for Lisa's room and stuff like that. He goes back to the tree and tries to stick his arm in it and realizes there's not as much cash in there as what he thought. So he goes to reach down further. Then Bart catches him.
Yep.
He like half breaks his arm or something like that. And Bart doesn't even check on him. He just walks down and instantly pulls money out of the tree.
Yep.
And then there's those other couple of like scenes of them like there's the Coldplay concert, which they just have them by themselves. And then there's like the zero gravity thing that they do.
Yeah.
Which is a couple of other things sort of crammed in there, but I can't remember exactly what it is.
Yeah, it didn't really...
It's just a lot of story building in those like montages. And then it sort of cuts to an argument that they have on the 0G plane flight of... I can't remember why like Homer flips on it, but he essentially says to Bart, like, after this, I'm going to stop spoiling you and send you back to the rotten lifestyle you've always had. And then he just says, well, I'm going to tell Mum, so there's nothing you can fucking do about it.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to them at school because my next...
Say some caveman's dissing your fly girl.
Say some dinosaurs dissing your cave girl. You just give him one of these.
Yeah, Bart brings Homer in for some sort of show and tell project and dresses him as a caveman and has him do caveman type things and noises.
Which is also a little bit of a through line back to the first episode where he's dancing around like a monkey at the end of it to make Lisa happy.
Yeah, caveman-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And then for extra credit, Bart says if he does a break dance, will he get more marks for it? And Krabappel's like, yeah.
That's what triggered that thought, because he does a couple of the moves that are like similar to what Mo does, but it's different enough that you like it's not a complete direct reference.
Yeah. Would have been great if it was.
Yeah, it would have been way better if they did that. I don't understand why they don't take opportunities to do something like that.
Because that's got to be one of the most popular scenes amongst people that don't watch the show either, that they've just seen on the internet somewhere.
It's a fucking hugely like memed fucking section of the show.
Exactly. Yeah. As like loyal viewers and watchers and rewatchers, it's good. It's a great scene, but not to the point of the popularity that it's reached.
Maybe it's also a good question to ask everybody as well. Like, what are like the most popular things from The Simpsons to people that don't watch The Simpsons? Because there is a lot of those.
Yeah.
Like steamed hams became fucking ridiculously huge. The amount of people that you could say that to that like know what it is but couldn't quote any other part of like not only that episode but any other part of The Simpsons.
Or another good question would be, if you are like a super fan like we are and you're talking to someone that isn't a fan of the show but they want to connect with you through the show, what's the one scene that they try and describe to make you laugh essentially?
Oh, okay. I get what you mean. Yeah.
And every time it is Homer going back into the bushes.
Yeah, because that became so fucking massive.
Yeah. There's so many like mimetic like panels from that first few seasons of the show. Like that hedge one is probably, besides steam hams, probably the most popular one.
Yeah.
Just as a reaction
Yeah.
image.
That even got made into like shoes and things like that.
Yeah, it was all over like shirts and jumpers and fucking, that was so massive for like probably only a couple of months, but like so beyond fucking massive.
And then say you tried to follow up someone telling you like, oh yeah, I love this scene. And then you'd be like, oh yeah. So talking more about that same episode where like Homer's infatuated with Flanders, they wouldn't be able to tell you anything about it.
They wouldn't even be able to tell you the next scene where it's like the Terminator reference where he chases him down the fucking car.
Yeah, exactly.
No, move this thing faster, Nettie. I can, it's a Geo!
Even, the Terminator music in that scene's perfect too.
That's right, it is too.
Yeah.
We love gatekeeping here, folks.
Big gatekeeping guy.
I'm a big gatekeeping guy. Big gatekeeping guy.
We're nearly at the end of the episode here anyway, so we've got... What happens after that? There's only like a couple more scenes where Bart's essentially just like humiliating Homer.
Gets him to like cart him around town in like an old-timey...
A rickshaw.
Rickshaw, that's what it's called.
And then, we get a real weird fucking interaction because Homer essentially... Well, not this one, but Homer like sort of gets sick of it and puts the rickshaw down. And Bart says, what are you doing? If you don't do it, I'm going to go and tell Mom.
Yeah.
And Homer says, I'm just going to go and tell her myself.
Yeah.
And sort of, comes to the conclusion that he needs to come clean about the money. Then Milhouse walks past and Bart says, hey, Milhouse, do you want to like drag my rickshaw around town? And Milhouse goes, yeah, picks it up and then goes,
Just because I'm your friend doesn't mean you shouldn't whip me.
don't be afraid to use that whip or just like, what the fuck? Came so completely out of left field. It's
Just a
like,
closet gimp.
oh, okay, like fucking Millhouse wants to be domed by Bart, apparently.
That's our salacious headline for this episode. Does Thrillhouse like to be domed? Is Bart getting domed up for Millhouse?
Perfect YouTube title.
Only added my name, Thrildo.
Drildo.
Incredible.
Giat of Nine Tails. I didn't even have to enter. I'm gay. Thrildo.
Bonus storm.
We should just end it there.
Bonus storm.
Cum Squad 2, stupid.
All right. So I think we go straight from there to Homer and Marge being in the hot air balloon, right?
Yeah.
Which is a really like nice scene. And well, the note that I have for it is sort of like two notes. First one is screw the toast is what I thought the whole time. When Homer eventually comes clean and says, I won $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's why I wasn't at the toast. Straight away, Marge is just like, oh, I don't give a flying fuck about you not being there for me and embarrassing me in front of a room full of our family.
Yeah.
We have $1 million.
Real life problems don't matter when you have money.
Exactly. Which, like, you know, that old adage of, no, money doesn't buy happiness. It's like, yeah, but it fucking, you know.
It helps.
It fucking helps, cunt. I spent $1,800 on a heap of shit car. Not even worth $1,800 fucking dollars.
It is now.
And then we get this really, really nice scene or like romantic idea that Homer surprisingly came up with on his own, which I like don't believe, but there's also nobody else involved in it, so I just have to believe it.
He doesn't realize he can rent a hot air balloon, so he spent the last of their $1 million buying a hot air balloon.
Buying a hot air balloon.
We
think, yes. And then he turns Marge around and points her at this field where he's grown or like made somebody, I don't know how, in this short period of time. Maybe he just bought a field that already existed and cut it out. We'll just go with that explanation.
No, the corn.
Oh, no, the corn. Paul Newman's going to have my legs broke. He's got this field of like white flowers cut out in the shape of Marge's face and says like, I like love you forever or something like that.
Yeah.
And she obviously like loves that because that is a really like crazy romantic gesture. And then sort of they pan out over the horizon in the hot air balloon and then there's another hill with him like wiping his forehead going phew.
Yeah. Yeah, that was mad.
So he already knew it was going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Paid homage to himself.
Yes.
For thinking of such a great plan.
And this is like my last note is surprisingly good ending because this is one of the first times in a long time I can think of for the season 20 or season 21 episodes where there's actually just like a nice little tie-off point at the end there.
Yeah.
It's like a nice little visual joke and then it's done.
Doesn't leave you questioning what you've just seen.
Exactly. There's been so many of those where it's like we've just been bewildered looking at each other going, why the fuck did they make that decision to end it there? It's like you could have done it like 30 seconds earlier, whereas this is the only one that had that nice like season 2 rounding on it.
Yeah. Agreed.
You got anything else?
No.
All
Pretty
right.
happy with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. You can find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And yeah, remember, if you have any questions, to hit us up at nokids3moneypodcast@gmail.com, or you can comment on YouTube or Spotify.
Yep.
Like, rate, and review if you're listening on audio or anything like that. And we'll speak to you guys next week.
Thrilldo.
You're not mad at me, are you?
So we asked ourselves, who's behind the badge? Police? Cops? Police cops.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing about that is